2. Of course, it's the Phenom, the Motown Phenom, Kevin Lee, back here in the program. We were trying to figure out how to say Megomed's last name. Mustave? Is that right?
Yeah, probably. These Russians, all the consonants, you can't understand a damn thing about it. Like I said, I've been knowing for 8 weeks. They told me the kid's name, and I still ain't been able to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's tough. You got to really wrap your head around a little bit when you're looking at it. But let's talk about though, evenly matched, 13-2 for you, 13-1 for him. You've got a few more decisions than he does. He does. I think it's 9-4. He has like 9 KOs and 4 submissions.
Yep.
And you're 1 KO, 5 submissions, and 7 decisions. So obviously you can go to deep waters. Mm-hmm. What was it like getting this fight? So you're known for 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. Did they call you? Go, here's this is the guy we want you to face, and this is what's going to happen. Or did you have to call them up and go, look, I need to get a fight?
So they called me with this fight, and at first I wasn't too interested. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, it's on a smaller card too. It's on the Belfast card. It's coming off of that big weekend of UFC 205. And it was against a guy that not many people have heard of. I didn't even hear of him. So I wasn't too interested at first. I kind of put up a little fight with him, and then Dana called me personally and kind of convinced me to take the fight. And he made some good points to me, and he made it make sense to me. So for this one, I'm approaching it. The last time I had a fight like this where I felt like I was much better than a guy everywhere, and that it wouldn't be much of a challenge was the Leonardo fight, mm-hmm. and I ended up losing that fight. So for this one, for me, this one is about testing my mental ability. You know what I mean? My mental strength. Going into this one prepared, not just taking it and going, okay, well, I'm obviously going to beat this kid. So, I'll just, and that's the wrong way to approach it. A championship level fighter approaches every fight like it's a championship. And that's what this one is. This one will show my maturity.
I'm going to go back for a minute. What points that you said Dana called you directly? Mm-hmm. What points did he make to convince you to want to take this fight?
I don't know if I can really say too much. You know what I mean?
Was it financial? Was it threatening? Was it encouraging?
No. It was actually really good. And it's good to hear it from the source too. Mm-hmm. I feel like the UFC likes me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That I'm somebody that they're trying to build, but it's good to hear it from the source and directly from the guy. So sorry, there's a plane going overhead.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sorry, I'm right near the airport, but so when he talked to me in the way that he broke things down, and like I said, it was a good conversation. It was good to hear those kind of things come from your promoter. So
yeah,
I don't know if I can exactly say what it was. You know what I mean? Dave Scholler ain't the PR guy no more, so we got a new PR guy.
You can.
I don't know him, you know what I mean?
There's been speaking of Dave Scholler, he's gone, but there's been a lot of change in the last couple of weeks that anybody that really knows how business is being bought out, how it really works, it's just how it goes. Like, things are going to happen. Yeah. But a lot of the diehard fans kind of thought that, when they came in and said, oh, don't worry about it, we're going to leave everybody alone, they really believed it. And so they kind of got upset when a lot of people were leaving. Were you caught off guard by anybody that they released? And was anybody close to you that they are no longer working for the UFC?
Like I said, the closest one was probably Dave. Okay. I'll do interviews and stuff, and I'll say like stupid stuff, and Dave will call me up, and he likes me a lot, and he'll be like, he'll kind of set things straight, and he cool people, so now I don't know who's gonna take over for his position, a new PR guy, so that's why I'm like trying to kind of walking on eggshells, because you never know, you might get some dickhead that just doesn't want to, so I think Dave was probably the biggest surprise for me necessarily. I don't know if he left or if they got rid of him. I don't know exactly what went on. I know he's working with the 76ers now, so which he seems really excited about. So maybe it was a good thing. Maybe it was a mutual. I was a little surprised that they let go of Joe, but I think Joe has kind of always said that, or that Joe quit. But I think Joe has always said that he does this for his family. So I think he reached his goal. He made enough money to support his family, and he don't need to do it no more. So, more power to the guy.
Yeah, the rumor is he owned a piece of the old
Mm-hmm.
UFC, and so when it sold, he got some money too. And for the way that he lives, that's it's enough. He doesn't need any
Yeah,
more.
that's what he
And
needs.
why, if you got enough, why work? Like, do you really need to keep going out there
Mm-hmm.
banging your head against the wall for no reason? So he's
Yeah, and everybody has their own. Everybody's got their own goals in life. You know what
yeah
I mean? If you just want to, there's some fighters that are like that. Some fighters are just more than happy with making 50 grand a fight, and it's enough to support their family and and live right. So
yeah.
everybody, the making the tens of millions of dollars ain't for everybody. So it depends on the person.
So let's
So
talk about
be happy.
Megamed, because he's the next guy in line. I know
Yep.
you like money. He's the next guy, in the way of you
Yeah.
making a lot of money. Obviously
Yeah.
show versus win.
Mm-hmm.
How do you break down this fight between you two?
Like I said, the kid's strong. Like you said, he's got a lot of finishes. Um, he's 13-1, and all 13 are by finish. So I think he's only been outside the first round once, to the second round, and he got a cut in his UFC debut. Um, but it's nothing that I haven't seen before. He comes out, he swings hard. He's definitely somebody that'll go out on his shield. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So, I think he gets finished in the second round. I don't think he'll be able to match my pace. The wrestling will be way too much for him. I think I'm gonna be a lot faster too. I just gotta stay sharp in the beginning. Especially, anybody can swing hard for these in the first couple minutes. Everybody's strong. You can put a
yeah,
15-year-old kid in there. He's gonna be like fucking.
yeah.
He's gonna be like the Hulk for the first couple minutes. So, I'll just stay sharp. It ain't nothing that I already seen before. This fight is more about how I approach the game more so than what he brings to the table, because it's nothing that I haven't already seen. So, it'll just show me as a fighter more so than the opponent.
Did you have to tweak anything during this training camp to get yourself ready?
I got a couple, the good thing about living in Vegas is you get a lot of fighters that come in and out. So, I was lucky to have like 3 or 4 Russian dudes
Okay.
that came through, and really good strikers too. So, it helps for me to bring out Russian guys, even if they aren't even his exact style, just so that I get used to kind of hitting a Russian kid,
Yeah,
and it makes a big difference. I look across and I see a Russian, and they speak a different language. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different. Like I got like 4 or 5 good Russian kids that I've been working with for this fight camp. So I think I'm preparing right. I'm preparing for it like it's a championship fight like no other.
well, this fight is got some good weight to it. Obviously, you have a longer reach advantage over him. They have you marked at 77, him marked at 71.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, your decisions 54% decision making for you versus his 0%. And then the big thing, obviously, record wise, that he has a huge amount of knockouts, and then you're kind of tied on subs. Do you feel
Yeah.
like that obviously he's got a lot of power, he's got a lot of knockout power, he's put down a lot of guys. Do you feel like that you had to adapt your striking style at all to keep from getting crushed by his power, or was it stuff that you kind of know already?
Not really. It's stuff that I know already.
Okay.
Like I say, he's got a lot of power, but he winds up. More of his knockouts have been by just overwhelming the dude. He doesn't have too many, at least that I've seen, where he's not like that pinpoint striker. He's not like one of the guys. He doesn't really clip you on the chin. A lot of
Yeah.
his strikes are hitting you on the top of the head. Side of the head. He's just overwhelming you. Hitting forearms, and
Yeah.
it's if you back up, if you give it to him, then it gives him more fire, and it gives him a lot of heart to keep coming forward. So as long as you just don't back up, as long as you just don't shy away from it, and that's how a lot of these Russian guys fight. They fight with a lot of heart. But as far as his actual striking, I don't think it's high level, obviously, but it's not. I've fought in a lot of guys that I think have much better striking. So, it's more about the mental. You know what I mean? If you get hit with a hard, you just have to know that he's gonna come and he's gonna
Yeah.
swing hard. And don't be shocked by that, because I think that's what a lot of he swings hard first. Guys get shocked, and like that last fight that he had with Joe Proctor. He hit Joe with like a couple good strikes out the gate, and Joe just, you could just tell he just backed away from it. And he didn't even finish him. Joe just more so went down. It
Yeah.
wasn't like he was knocked out. So this is more about mental than anything.
That's Kevin Lee. Got a fight coming up here. UFC Fight Night 99,
Yes,
November
sir.
19th. It's right after the biggest card in UFC history at UFC 205. It's the next weekend. You mentioned it earlier. You said it's a smaller card. It's right after the New York City show at Madison Square Garden. Do you feel like you're going to have as many eyeballs on it as you normally would? Or do you think there'll be more eyeballs because so many casual fans will be watching New York the week before?
Yeah, especially with it being in Ireland, I don't know, I don't think so. I don't think it'll have that many eyeballs, to be honest. They're throwing two shows on the same day too, which can be a little confusing for people. I've said some people like, oh, I'm fighting November 19th, and they think I'm fighting down in Brazil. Which for me it's even worse, because and now it's even more pressure on me, because now I really can't go out. One thing is I always try and be real with myself. I always try and be honest with myself, and I can't go out there and lose in front of 10,000 Irish dudes and nobody else watches. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I got to go out there and I got to really shine, and I got to really put on a good performance in order to stand out.
Yeah.
So it just adds more pressure to me, and it's gonna be even better in the long run, I feel. Than even being on these bigger cards.
I know it's 8 hours of fight programming
Yeah.
on the 19th. That's a full day. I feel
After,
bad. I feel bad for my
after
wife.
the New York card.
Yeah,
So,
after watching that huge New York card the weekend before, I'm actually reffing that night in Maui. We have a pro card coming in that I have to go ref, so I won't be able to see the card live. I have to keep it on DVR and watch the New York card when I get done. And then the 19th, I feel bad for my wife because if I'm not reffing fights, I'm watching fights. So it's 8 hours of programming. It's gonna be 8 hours of me just watching fights. So that's what I'll be doing all day. It's crazy because it's like. So I guess I fall in that category of diehard fan where I watch every single fight that comes on from every single promotion. If I can watch it, I'm watching it. If I have access to that particular broadcast, I'm going to watch that broadcast. I want to see these fights.
Yeah.
I don't care what format it's on, what the level is. It doesn't make a difference. That's
a lot
of hours, though, man. That's 8 hours of sitting there watching guys fight. Of course, it's the highest level. It's the UFC, so it's a little bit more enjoyable than watching 3D level. That night.
Sure.
Still, like, geez, like that's a lot of programming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the UFC even knows it. I'm not really sure. I won't be sure until I get there and kind of see how the atmosphere is. But why they're doing it, I don't know. I really don't know.
Dana's dream. You probably don't remember, but he said this. He said this maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
His goal is to have 4 fights in one night on 4 different continents. Something like that. And of course, somebody's going to email me and be like, "No, he said this." But that's basically what he's saying is that he wanted to have 4 fights in one night on 4 different continents. And right now he's having 2 fights in one night on 2 different continents. And this is like the 7th time they've done it. Like they've done it before. It's not the first time that this is.
And they have a lot of good fights on this card. Uriah Hall and Musasi are headlining. That's gonna be a damn good fight. They got a lot of good fights on this card. It's not like they're just putting on like a bunch of guys from Tough or something like that. A lot of good guys on this fight. It's a lot of fights on this card that are very good.
Okay, so I'm looking at the UFC website. I love going to UFC.com to pay attention to get the fight stats and all that things. But as I'm looking at it right now, the main event for the UFC Fight Pass prelims is McCall Siri. You're 3 fights before that, so you're in the middle of the card on UFC Fight Pass, and then the main card is you've got Pearson and Ray as your co-main event, and Musasi Hall is your main event, and they just had the biggest card that they've ever had in New York the week before, and they're able still to put those fights on, these great fights on the next week, and then you've got to worry about, and they've got the Brazil card. I forget who's on it, but they've got a great main event and co-main event, and 3 or 4 fights on the undercard that I want to watch. Like it's crazy how they're able to put together not only month after month, but literally week after week, day and the same day, putting on great fights. It's incredible how they can do it.
Yeah, it's great, and and the thing with it is, everybody's worried. Everybody's just saying Conor and Ronda right now, but really, it's all the rest of us that make up the UFC. You can look to Conor and Ronda and say that they bring in the big pay-per-views. Yeah, sure, but it's the rest of us that really make up the UFC. And people keep saying, okay, what are they gonna do when Conor and Ronda retire? Well, I mean, everybody said the same thing when George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva were at the top, you know.
And before that, was Liddell and Couture, and before that
yeah,
was
exactly, you
Thurman
know.
and Gracie. Like it goes. This is how it works.
So all these guys on this card that I'm on right now can all be superstars, you know.
Yeah.
It just depends on the time frame that you're looking at, you know. In a year from now, the UFC is going to look completely different,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be headlining cards, so you know.
And all those guys we deem unbeatable, we saw with Ronda. You know, I thought she was unbeatable too. Went in there and gets knocked out. Now we got to find out what she's gonna look like when she comes back. But
that's
these guys
what makes the sport great.
Yeah, you like right now. Obviously, you say Conor and Ronda are the biggest stars of the sport. They absolutely are the biggest stars of the sport. But they're only going to fight twice a year, so that's 4 fights a year. The other 90 fights they throw out a year, like if those were the only 4 fights they threw, were the 2 Conor McGregor fights and the 2 Ronda Rousey fights, and those were the cards they put together, no one would care.
Yeah,
because you're fighting, and there's other build up, and there's other stuff going on. It's going to be everybody keeps paying attention. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's an argument that I have when people say, you know, as far as like the whole union and everything, and us being paid more, you know, people say, okay, you if you don't bring in millions of dollars, you shouldn't make millions of dollars. Well, that doesn't make any sense, you know, because if you only have a fight card with just Conor on the top of the card, people are going to complain that the undercard is shit, you know. Yeah. I mean, they've done that before when they've had just John Jones and Dan Henderson, you know, when they tried to throw on that card and they didn't really put anybody on the undercard, you know, people complain. People complain when the entire card isn't stacked. But at the same time, they only want to pay, you know, the fans only look at the top guys and say, okay, these guys should be paid. Well, no, all of us should be, you know.
I personally think with this 205 pay-per-view card that they have in New York City, they're going to kind of screw themselves because there's going to be a crap ton of new eyeballs on that fight. They're going to watch that fight, and that card is stacked from the very first fight to the very last fight. Every single card on there is incredible, or every single fight on that card is incredible. Then you go in a month later, you watch the pay-per-view again, and you're a new fan, and you're watching this next one. You're like, all right, okay, this is what it is. Like I thought the last one was what it is. You might get to the third one, but come by February, March of next year, the casual fan is going to fade off again. They're going to be gone because they don't really, because it's not every single card is top to bottom is that good. Mm-hmm. And it's, what is it now? $64.95 you got to pay for it. It's too much. Like it's too expensive to have cards that you don't really want. So your fight night cards and the Fight Pass cards that you see, they're all on Fox Sports or Fox Sports 1 and then, or all on Fight Pass and a mixture of those cards are the best cards because it doesn't really cost you any more money. If you've got Fox Sports on your cable bill, you've already got it. Yep. You're going to watch anyway, and then Fight Pass is an extra couple bucks a month, and that's where you get all the real fans that really pay attention for long term, and that's what you're fighting on. And I really believe there's more eyeballs on that than there are on the pay-per-views. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, the eyeballs that matter. Which that's a good point, you know, because these are the people, you know, the hardcore fans are the ones that matter. And like you said, the casual fans, they're here, they're gone. You know, I really don't give a, you know, that's why I don't understand like other fans too when they talk about pay-per-view numbers. I don't give a shit if you know somebody who doesn't know or doesn't understand about fighting, you know, and if I'm a fan, you know.
Yeah, and they don't get it. Pay-per-view numbers don't matter to you at all until you get pay-per-view money. And so if you're not getting paid pay-per-view money, you don't care. Like it doesn't. So for the folks at home that understand. The champs, part of their contract is they get part of the pay-per-view. The dollar amount that's paid towards pay-per-view, part of it goes to the pay-per-view company that puts it out. Part of it goes to the UFC, obviously, because they're doing all the production and it's their show. And then part of it goes to the fighters. And the numbers have ranged anywhere from 25 cents per pay-per-view all the way up to like $1.50 is most I've ever heard. But there could be more. Like I don't know. I'm not in the contract negotiation stuff. But for the folks at home, what you don't get is that like so when McGregor comes on and does $1 million pay-per-view, he gets an extra amount of money on top of what he gets paid for that pay-per-view dollar. But Kevin Lee's not getting pay-per-view money. He's not getting part of that pay. So pay-per-views don't mean anything to him at this point. It really doesn't mean anything. If it did 100,000 or 500,000, doesn't matter. You know, if it does.
At this point, especially, you know.
Once you're the champ, or once you're in a title fight, or once you're hunting, now you're talking about pay-per-view dollars, and that's really where we saw with McGregor Diaz. The numbers got released. The original was 15-13. It came out at 13-11, but they were only had like 3 and 6, I think, on commission pay. So the rest of that was locker room bonus and pay-per-view numbers and everything else. So for a guy like Conor, he's interested in pay-per-view. He needs pay because that's more than 2/3 of his paycheck. you know?
Yeah.
But for you just got to go out there and win and be
I
excited.
I think the person who broke it down the best was Tyrone Woodley, you know, because he was saying you know, before his fight with Robbie, you know, he wasn't getting pay-per-view points because he wasn't the champ. So he's like, well, fuck it, you know, like my main thing is about winning, and now that he is, you see him putting on things like that champ camp, you know, he's doing like a lot more promotional stuff and a lot more, you know, because he has the incentive, you know. And the UFC doesn't, they don't like to do that, you know, because they view the UFC first, the UFC brand before any fighter. So you know, it's got to make sense both ways, you know what I mean?
Well,
so,
this is the first time in their history from the very beginning, from the very beginning, even when Gracie was winning, that the UFC now is not in control. Where the stars are bigger than the actual promotion now. So like Conor McGregor is bigger than the promotion. Ronda Rousey is bigger than promotion. Of course, there's other people that paved the way to get there, but those right now are bigger. And right now the UFC doesn't really know what to do. They're kind of like, because we always have control. If this guy loses, who cares? We've got 9 other guys that can fill his space. But now we're talking about, hey, what happens if Ronda and Conor retire? I kind of get their point. Like the UFC is not going to fall apart. It's not going to close down. It'll lose some eyeballs. But that's the time too that when guys like you are right there on the cusp, and then one of them retires, all of a sudden, boom, you step up, and now you fill the gap. You fill the gap of being the entertainer. You fill the gap of being the trash talker. You fill the gap of being the next pretty boy that everybody wants to watch. And that's kind of, it's like you said earlier, it's all about timing and placement and matches.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to happen.
Exactly, you know, and that's kind of my goal too, you know. Before, you know, and like I said, I like to be real myself, and I know that I need that one. I need a marquee win right now. You know, I need that one name. You know, and I was looking to fight Thiago Alves on that New York card when Al Iaquinta pulled out. And that would have been the name. You know, once I beat Thiago, then everybody will, you know, will kind of jump on it. And I still realize that I still need that even after beating this Russian kid. But it's the timing. You know. After this one, I feel like the timing will work out perfect for a great 2017 for me.
I love it. That's Kevin Lee. He's got a fight coming up here. UFC Fight Night, man. Kevin, thanks so much for coming on. Always a pleasure to talk with you, man. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. Next time I'm in Vegas, I think I'm there in, when are we there, babe? Oh, not till the new year, right? Yeah, not till the new year. After the new year. I got a bunch of crap going on, but I'll be back in for like a couple weeks sometime in January.
Well, even then, you know, hit me up. You know, I'll have some time free. I won't be in fight camp, so I know. We'll have a good New Year.
That's the best time to work out with you is when you're not in fight camp. I don't want to get
hurt. Exactly. I might be a little bit bigger than I am right now, but you know, I'll be all right.
All right, Kev. Take care, man. Have a great rest of your training camp. Good luck down there. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.